thread here. So I bought a 3/4 inch by 10 nut. The trick is to get the nut to sit in there while it cures. So I'll show you the prototype. I just got to thinking, some people turn bowls, some people turn pins. I build jigs. I figure out how to do something. So I got to figuring, and this is what I came up with is, hey, it's just a block with a cavity. Well, how do I put the nut right here? Well, you need something to hold it. And then you need something to hold the nut. Now, there's a bolt that goes through here. I'll show it to you in a second. That you screw, and take a picture. There you go. You screw the nut into the bolt, set it down here like that, pour the liquid rubber in there, and let it cure. Give it about a day or so, separate it, and this is what you get. Just like that. This guy right here, now, first off, Rubber Chucky, I'm sure it's a great product. I'm not going to speak ill of the man, but it's not rubber. It is as hard a plastic as this camera or this screen. It is, I'm like, it's hard. My product, first off, the stuff you buy is off of Amazon, like most everything else in the world. It's silicon rubber. It comes in a different viscosities, hardnesses. The actual hardness, like there's a national standard for it right here on, trying to find a camera. There we go. This is a 20A. This is the white stuff. Trying to find a camera. I had it on a screen. There you go. Anyway, silicon rubber, 20A. This stuff is a little bit more giving, and I'll pass this around, let y'all, than I liked. It's like, it's pretty giving. So I tried the next highest up, which is 30A. Did I lose it? Okay. This stuff is what I like. It's a little bit stiffer. It's not going to budge at all. And it's got a good hardness to it with still having a little give, so it's not going to mar your finish. So you can literally jam it in there and it's not going to hurt your wood and you'll be able to get a good firm grip on it. If it's too hard, you're not going to get a grip. Your product's just going to slip off. So you want a little bit of give to it. So if you will pass this around, you may want to take these.
What number is that?
The white one is 20A. The blue one is 30A. And to give you an idea of the hardness levels, like 60A is ballistic grade. Like you could shoot it with a gun. This stuff is like, you can get it high enough. I mean, standard safety helmets are in this category. So, but this is a national standard. So this 20A, like I say, you can feel the difference between the two. I like the blue a little bit better. The prototype worked pretty well. And obviously, because it's something I made, I'm so cheap. I glued 2x4s together. It's pretty simple. You cut a mortise right here so that I can hold it onto some jaws and hollow it out. And you can cut whatever profile you want. That's actually the white one. There's actually the second profile. Initially, I didn't cut it deep enough. So I just went back and cut it some more. The white you see is actually just some spray paint just to kind of seal the grain because I used cheap wood. That simple. Figuring out the lid and everything was a little bit of a challenge, but I'll show you version 2, and that has done, I think it's much better. And we're going to crack it open. I actually poured it 2 days ago. It's been curing for 56 hours. Officially only needs 12. So cross your fingers. It should be done. We'll pull it out and see what actually happened. I don't know. I hope.
Use a mold release.
When I remember. So, yes, those were done without a mold release. I did remember the mold release here. This is version 2. So it occurred to me that what I was actually making is just a lidded box. It's actually pretty simple. Well, I was gluing this up and I was like, wait a minute, I'm just making just a simple lidded box. So I took the product. As you see here, I separated it right here for a lid. So you start with a mortise here, and I get this mortise simply with a nice, 2 1/8 Forstner bit that most of us all have, because that's what makes a mortise real easy. Put a 2 1/8 Forstner bit in there, turn it around, cut a mortise on this side, then separate it. Obviously, true it up. Then with it separated, I can go ahead and hollow the bottom piece. And then when I've cut the profile just right, I make sure I have a lip on the inside. You'll see it here in just a second when we fight to get this thing open. Let's go ahead and do it. Now, the best way to get these things off, so this is my bolt right here, running through this whole section. Don't even ask me what this wood is. It was something lying around in the shop. Hey, it's working. So there's my nut. You can see it suspended there. We may need chisel. I did not bring one. Or a knife. So when I pour these, I pour it to where it doesn't touch the top. That's still not a guarantee, especially because this is the first time I've ever poured this. Yeah, it's stuck to the top. But that is pretty. Obviously, a little bit of cleanup. So now the rubber chucky, I will give him credit for this. They're all, I think it's obvious that he turns them after he makes them. I don't know if he's using a CNC or a mold or whatnot, but he turns them to where they are perfectly round and everything. The second one, the one that I passed around, those were not. Obviously, the prototype was not perfect. This, I don't know if you can tell, that's a perfect, that's a perfect product. So it's a little sticky, not too bad. It will cure over time and be completely solid. I mean, it is solid. It won't be sticky afterwards. Now, the biggest reason why I like something like this, obviously, it has a lot of uses. One of the biggest uses, when I first started wood turning, I fell in love with a guy who posted a gorgeous video turning a wedding goblet with 2 captured rings in resin. If you've never seen it, I mean, it's an extremely popular video. It is flat gorgeous. Like most people, when you turn something like a goblet, you want a flexible something to hold your cup. A lot of people will use tennis balls, or in this case, I've got a rubber chuck. And this is a little sticky. If y'all want to take a look at it as well, where'd the other part go? In the box. And obviously we can always, like, that's maybe not as deep as what I'd wanted. It's still not bad. I could go back and just cut a different profile. You can make whatever profile you want. I was actually thinking about something that was concave instead of convex, to where it would actually grip the bottom of a bowl a little bit easier. Lots of different applications. Oh, and here's the best part. $4. I can make that for $4. This stuff right here is 20 bucks, and it'll make about 3 or 4 of them roughly. Super cheap. and reusable. So I highly recommend, I mean, if you just, no, I'm not going to go into business doing them, but if you ever want a jam chuck, and that'll last, I mean, probably years by itself. And if not, it's $4. Oh, the nut, now the nut will come out of it. That's okay. I mean, you can just pull the nut out of it and then put it into your next one. Save the nut. So a lot of applications, I think, fairly inexpensive to do.
I pulled it up, it's Amazon, but just when you start looking at it, you gotta make sure the viscosity, because there's like a 10A,
Yes.
15.
I was gonna say the 20A is the white.
Make sure you looking at
The
that.
20A is the white, and it's not bad. Like I say, it'll have a little bit of give. So when you put it into something like the cup of a goblet, it's going to give a little bit more. The 30A, it holds its shape a little bit more. I haven't found a 40A. I think it's fine. That right there is, honestly, I ran out of the 20A or the 30A. It's a mixture of 20 and 30. So, but I still think, I mean, that's an excellent product, I think. I mean, for what I would want, that's perfect.
I'm gonna ask, can you mix some,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
didn't have enough of one.
Right,
the other-
didn't have enough of one. I just, because the hardener in that is actually the same in both products. So the 30A has this blue with a white, you mix them, you get the blue. The 20A, it's just white and white. So whatever that hardener is, it's their B product, it's the same. So chemically, it's been fine. Any questions on making the jig itself? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a liquid. Well, open up the thingy. Have a couple paper towels laying around, I will admit. And what I did was, my wife doesn't know it, but she lost one of her Pyrex measuring cups. You may know it now. Yeah, so it does not stick to glass or plastic for, well, yeah. There's some things it doesn't stick to. Glass is the biggest thing. So I just, 50%, 50%. It's a 1-to-1 mix. Sit there and stir it up for 30 seconds or so. Pour it on into the mold. I actually pour it up to the point where I've got that lip for the lid covered. I'll pour it right up to there. And I've got the threads, you just pre-measure. So the threads, it should stick down about a 1/16 of an inch just below the surface, so that when you pour it, you want to get it flush, or even, to be honest, even a little bit of overlap on the nut would be totally fine. Like I could have let the nut go just a little bit further down, and there wouldn't have been any trouble with that. So I think, as far as the turnout for that first job, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it.
You put tape on the back side of the nut to keep the.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, the bolt keeps everything out of it, right? So, and the bolt is, just a match for this guy right here, so it all works. So, like I said, one of the nice things that you do with this is it's great for turning anything that is, well, when you turn a goblet or any kind of stemware, you start with obviously the cup. You hollow it out, you get it nice and how you want it, and then you make everything back here really thin. Well, it becomes delicate. So you have to stabilize the cup on a chalice. You don't want it too stable. You don't want to put something hard in there, because without any give to it whatsoever, it'll snap your stem. So you've got to have a little bit of give to it. Like I said, a lot of people use tennis balls or rubber chuck in this case. So I love the idea of turning chalices and goblets. And I've done a little bit of research on that. When I went online, this is one of the books I found. Turn it around. See if you can get that. There we go. This book, written in 1890s, is free online. Microsoft Foundation digitized it. You can go in there and just search for this in particular. What I like, there's a lot of books that'll tell you how to turn a goblet, how to do this, how to do that. This is actually a history of goblets, of vases, and a lot of things. Actually, as you see, theory and practice of design. We have about 15 of those. I admit I left a bunch of them at the office.
Not for everybody, I'm gonna put the link to this. Well, get Bill to put the link on, email, so you can pull it up. If anybody, some of y'all that are in Birmingham already have seen this or already have it.
Yeah, I handed it out when I did it in
This is
Birmingham.
showing different,
So the book is free. There's actually a lot to it. It's only like a 200-page book and it's a quick read. What I love is the illustrations. This fella basically assembled a history of vases and turning products in general. And it really kind of starts with the basic idea that, the first cups, so starting up here on the top right, or top left, my right, just basic cups. The premise, of course, is, well, we have to hold liquid. But then, so what are we going to mostly hold? Wine. So what happens when we hold too much wine? Well, we can't hold the wine too much longer. So let's make the cup easier to hold. So they started adding different details, including, well, the cup is really large. So if I want to hold it, let's make a part that's smaller. So we started adding stems. And stems, of course, eventually get to the point where, well, we can't really hold the stem because it becomes too thin. So they started adding other details. This little knot right here, and there's actually an illustration. I want to say it's on the 3rd page. There you go. This is more of the goblets. Those are actually vases on the front, but these are the goblets. So when you get to where you can't really hold the stem too easily, they added what they called a knop, K-N-O-P, which is supposed to help you grip it. And the idea eventually with a goblet is you wanted to put something in there, a chalice, like the sacramental wine. You didn't want the sacramental wine toppling over on the sacrament. So your goblets developed wider bottoms to them than really the top, because the worst thing in the world is to spill the wine. They started adding a lot of detail. The book goes into a lot of actual detail as far as the design goes. For example, and these are real world products. For example, this figure right here, I believe, was actually a French goblet from the 1600s. I don't know where he got it from, but there's an illustration of that goblet. And there's several pages detailing this, but also other details like other decorations and whatnot. It's actually the very last chapter in this book that goes into all sorts of detail as far as vessels and the design and implementation of vessels. Obviously, a lot of this was not in wood. A lot of it was, metal at some point. But I found this to be fascinating as far as a history of how we went from simple to ornate, but a lot of this revolved around practicality. That's what got me. It was like, okay, we start with this, but then we needed this, but then eventually we started getting wider and wider, more ornate. But a lot of it was driven by practical needs. So today's demonstration is an attempt at something like the first one there. We have a piece of walnut, and we're going to do, this is where the more of the attempt goes in, a natural edge on the walnut. So most of this bark is going to be gone, but hopefully we'll retain a decent portion of it. Hollow it out, obviously, to make a cup. Come back here with a nice stem and a wide bottom. We're going to see how this goes. We need a tool rest on the floor. Thank you, sir. This would be fine. All right. I've made several goblets, most of which actually survived. Let's see. We're going to start with just removing, obviously, a lot of bark and turning a tenon on this end. I'm going to use a ball gouge for starters just to get it going and save my edges for my good stuff where we get around to cutting, obviously, the end grain cup. And now the fun begins. No, my nerves are not kicked up, not at all. Oh. Let's see. How do you start a lathe?
Oh, big red.
Oh, the big red button. I've never used a Power Medic. Mine at home is a Laguna. Okay, well, we pulled the big red button. Is there a start button? It's not plugged in.
That's not on that. That 1020 plugged in.
Oh, this one?
Just a slight technical detail.
String cord over there.
It's over here.
Yeah, I did plug it in.
It's just not in the wall.
There we got a light.
There you go.
All right.
Got out.
We might need a little bit more room on the lathe. Yep, there we go.
They have.
All right.
They have to. Turn it on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got some movement. Now, before, let's make sure we get this guy firmly cranked. This is fair wet wood. It should not spray the entire audience, but y'all might get a small bath. We're going to run about 300, maybe 400 RPM to start with. I've already played with it some. And I'm going to start by removing bark from about here down, trying to retain this as much as possible. At least that's the goal. I highly recommend a smock or something, apron, when you're playing with bark, because you'll need a bath afterwards. And if you wear glasses, try to remember them when you do a demo. I do it. Not entirely necessary. I can tell you that one of the things, if you're going to do a log like this, don't mount it with the pith. You want to mount it off. Sorry, guys. Well, you want to mount it just slightly off center because you don't want that pith. That pith is soft, especially. So if you're going to mount it, make sure it's off just a hair, half inch or so.
Anything to stand on.
I know I'm short.
You don't know, but.
I mean, if you got something, I wouldn't mind. We had the same problem down in Birmingham. They did build me a platform. I'm like, I'm 5'8". In theory, at least I used to be. Now, the real problem, this is not that big of a deal. I do a turn where I turn the angel. Y'all might have seen the angel. You really have to, it's really good to be able to see down up into the wood. This isn't quite that bad. They're getting nice and round. We need to cook the wood up a little bit. I brought my booster sheet. Make sure that's nice and tight. So I'm going to come in here. If you're trying to retain bark, don't cut into the bark you're trying to retain. Cut away from it. So we're going to come in right out in here and start trying to come away. The goal is going to be to have a goblet cup about this deep, somewhere in this vicinity. And the rest of this is going to be handle. And then we'll have a nice base. Now, like I said, the book goes into, since I've actually read the book, but the goal is going to be embellishment. If you want a product to look nice, you got to do some extra things to it to make it look nice. There we go. Obviously, we can't be banging on it and whatnot, and like these people did with this stuff, because it's metal. But a big, detailed, nice base to it, which is going to have most of your weight. That's the goal. You want a heavy bottom so that it doesn't tip over. I'm really okay, Jack. I mean, it's not that bad. He found it. Okay.
Roll, Paul's and Tommy's and James Armstrong's.
Nice booster seat.
That's,
That'll work.
that's a booster seat.
Just be careful you don't step backwards off of it.
Yeah.
Don't fall off of it.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
That better?
That's nice. Yeah. Okay. One other little thing. So we're going to cut a tenon on this side. This might, I get down for this.
I see that for thing.
I'm down.
No wedge.
Hold it.
All right. So we'll start with this marking. Probably should have treated up. Do we have a light on this side somewhere? We'll need a light at some point. Not so critical right now, but I've done well. That's why I got multiple bowl gouges.
We've got one back.
Ready for down here?
We will, yes, sir. This is actually in transition. This is, you see, I've been cutting a different profile on it. There we go. That'll help out. Ooh. Too bad. Need a bit more. Got a nice Vic Mark chuck. They got pretty tired jaws. Want to get as good a grip on that as possible. There we go. Yeah, I'm breaking the rule. All right, there we go. So how I usually like to cut dovetailed tenons is a little bit of an angle on my, there we go, on my skew here. Wiggle to it. What's that wiggles about? Definitely got a wiggle to it. Hmm. All right, let's see. Quick pause for patient identification. Knockout bar?
Out there, hold them. I'll be in the left hand.
Move it. Yes, sir. Let's see how well I did. Perfect world, you want it to close up with about 1/8 of an inch. Look at that. That might not be visible on camera, but it's pretty good. And we use the tailstock, obviously, as much as possible. I'll start by trying to cut our profile. I'm not going to get too much into it because I want to use this to support as I go to hollow. Probably not a good idea to start that at that high speed, but it's okay. That's Ooh. Well, let's see if we can't get some fun going. And we'll go ahead and true this up, actually. Then we'll get to playing with it. So to help retain the bark, I've already applied some CA glue. Why it's a little darker. That'll help out a little. Swap, actually. So it's got the old bottom feeder profile. This is it's my typical daily driver. Split 3/5 front bolt program. What happened?
And-
Oh, okay.
People.
Oh. So if you're turning green wood like this, make sure you check nice and tight. Now the fun begins. Yeah, we're going to be working way back here, so. Make sure you take your live center out of your tailstop so you don't nick your arm. All right, so we only got to go down. Doesn't have to be very deep, 2-3 inches. Need to lose that. Yeah, we need to lose that. Well, thank you, sir.
Heavy.
Yeah, those things weigh about 30 pounds. So when you're hauling anything like this, avoid trying to cut like this. This actually works against your chuck. So your wood will pop off. I learned the hard way a few times. Taller still. You lost focus. So it looks like we can come in about right in here is about the most I want to go because that's going to start really eating into the bark. You didn't have to photograph that. Oh, whack. Well, this isn't that critical. Some people, a lot of times you'll take a Forstner bit, get you started. That does help a lot. Probably should have brought one. All right. A lot of sapwood on this guy. Mm. A little bit more than what I honestly wanted. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and remove a little bit more on the outside. You Yeah, quite a bit of softwood on this. Oh well. All right, another half inch or so. Until it's really wet. That center is soft. So one of the things that chalice has, and it says, what's the difference between a chalice and a goblet? A chalice, more ceremonial, is made to be more wide. Goblets in general are more for volume. You want to drink more wine, I guess, or but this is going to be a chalice with a very wide uh, cup to a narrow with a wide base. Of course, whatever you do, whatever you want to do. A lot. All right, what do y'all want to do? If we go much thinner with this, we'll lose this edge, but we'll clean up that. If you're going to do an edge like this, you got to close that flute. It's open too much to get a catch and piece goes side out. I'm going to take a scraper to this bottom. Not bad. I like the profile we're getting. All right. So real close. Somebody told me a long time ago, don't chase the nub. I'm chasing the nub. You never quite get it. It should go deeper. It could definitely go deeper. All right, what do you want to see? Deeper? Or is it fine? Okay. I'm always my own critic. Like I could have done that better.
Are is full of empty guesses.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that when I make something, it's always the first version. Find out later on how to do it better. 4 or 5 into it, I'm like, all right, maybe it's getting there right. Switch to standard old spindle gouge. I'm gonna take this down quite a ways. Now, let's go ahead and put the tailstock back up. I got it. We will go ahead and put on. Where's our new rubber Chucky? The new one.
Which,
The new one. The one that went that way. Oh, there it is.
looks like the nut's a little loose on that one.
Is it? If you're gonna screw something, you gotta secure it. Gotta secure the bearing.
The permanent club located.
We're currently meeting with the, oh, you are correct, sir. That nut did not do a good job. The Red Mountain Makers. Yeah, okay, that's actually not gonna be a good product.
Silver blue?
Mm. It just didn't go far enough in. Yeah. Oh well. Version one, that great. Let's go back with an old one. I'll make that a little bit deeper next time and set that nut a little bit deeper. In a perfect world, like the rim of your goblet would be entirely enclosed by this. I would say this a little bit smaller version. That is so wet. Look. It was cut about 2 months ago. I didn't think it'd be this old. So just like working on the rim, you don't want to take off too much on the back side before you go ahead and you want to shape from this way down. Old spindle gouge. There's actually a term, and I've done forgot it. It might be in the sheet of paper, where the cup turns, like pulls almost a 90 degree before going down in the book. Like I say, they actually have labels for every part of a goblet. It's kind of like, wow, who would have thought? Trying to give them a shot. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try to make this pretty thin. And then we're going to leave a knot right in this area before going back thin again into this area. Maybe a little ambitious to have this big of a cup. Okay, that's our thickness here. Come on. Now, a little thick. We're going to go a little bit thinner. This thing is not. This is why we brought the thin parting tool. Let's see. Or the bidet. Let's see which one's going to be there. Yeah, let's get with thin parting tool first. Ooh. Looking about right. I wouldn't go much below about a quarter of the width of the bowl, at least to start. We can go thinner back there with the handle, but here's my detail spindle gouge. That's great. Yeah, that's looking. Not bad. Was over the last 2 years. Not too shabby. Just under a ½ inch thick. And something that I would be real picky about, I might go as low as a third of an inch, especially right here on this rim. It's a little bit thin. If you get too thin on it, you're gonna start losing bark. If you do lose bark, grab your wood glue. You always do it back off. Unless it comes off in sections. Too shabby. Oh, let's go ahead and finish up with knot. Actually, let's adjust this just a here. A smaller one down there. Good. Good, we got no more sapwood here. That's actually. So obviously there's a wide variety of knot designs, whatever you want to do with it. I'm going to do a double bead. So basically, go, come on, there, and there. The hard part about any kind of a double bead is trying to make the first bead look like the second bead. Invariably, your first bead is perfect. Your second bead is off just a little bit. Mm, that can be a little bit better. Get the rest of the stem made. Now, this is the fun part. This is where it goes thin. Now, yes, in a perfect world, your chuck should be the same diameter as your cup so that it doesn't wiggle. Didn't quite come out. maybe a little bit big for those. As far as your bases go, there's a lot of things you can do. Perfect rope, the base is supposed to be the exact same diameter as the cup itself. Oh, well. I prefer personally a stepped base where you literally go concentric rings kind of outwards. Personal preference. What we'll do is we'll do a bead, cove, bead. Always a good combination. Mm. Super happy with that profile. See the scrape over there? We got a dozen. Oh, wooden scrape. There. Where look at me. Ooh, big tear. When you get a bump like that, you just take it off. I'm going to do some relief cutting and then we'll part it off. You're probably covered in dust. Yeah, don't do, wanted to do the other, but we'll see how, I don't think it's gonna work. So if the check were perfect, I say we're having to use the old one. The new one would have been big enough. I could actually flop it around and finish off the bottom with it, using it to hold and drive. We're not gonna go that way, this one. Where'd the parting tool go? Again. Okay. I always say 50% of wood turning or woodworking in general is finding the tool you just put down.
You're right.
Yep. Now, why am I using this? Use that today. One of my favorite tools. With any vessel, you want to undercut it so that you actually got a concave. So this lip is what actually sits. If you convex, it'll never sit flat. Yeah, this is the part where the front row gets nervous. Switch to the thin now. 200 RPM should be good. The light this day. Here's what it is. My third hand. I don't know.
Good.
Boy. Questions? What y'all think? I think
How much pressure do you put, when you're using these rubber?
so. That's why I went to the thicker or stiffer 30A. The 20A, when you applied pressure, it noticeably gave. This, the 30A, it does give it a little bit, but it's not bad at all. And like I say, I've driven using this product or this particular one. And obviously, you don't want to crank it like that, but just a good, little bit of a grip. Walnut, uh, freshly cut it was a tree about 2 months ago.
Why would the chuck that you pulled out of the mow, why would it not work?
I didn't make it deep enough, unfortunately, and it's a trial and error. So the nut came out.
Well, with the nut put in there under pressure, would it still have worked?
Yeah, probably. And I've tried various things, so like mashing like this, yeah, that'll totally hold. Uh, I've actually taken my angle grinder and cut grooves into it, trying to help it. I don't really have any trouble with it just being a little bit deeper like this. It just encloses it a little bit more. Obviously, like I say, first time going with this guy, now I know a little bit more thread, no big deal. And part of this is, where'd this guy go? Into the top there, sir. So the way this works, and I didn't bring the tools to take it apart, but obviously I use an 1.25" Forstner bit here, 1.25" Forstner bit here. That is big enough for the nut itself. And then, of course, the 3/4 inch Forstner bit all the way through it. But the deeper you cut this recess and that recess determines where your bolt comes out. So like I say, I want a few more threads. What I'll do is I'll take the bolt out, mount it, because it's totally still mountable every which way. This tenon here, you'll hand me the lid there. So this right here was the 2 1/8 hole from the Forstner bit when I originally drilled it. So that's what this is here, and it fits. I mean, there's no play in it. Honestly, that was one of the best things I've done. It was like, wow, it worked. So all I got to do though is grip it again by this, take that Forstner bit, run it back in there, and cut 1/8 of an inch, if that, to make that bolt just a little bit deeper. There's still plenty of wood in here. There's probably about, an inch worth of wood in here still that I could fine tune the depth of my bolt. In a perfect world, maybe I would have put another nut, I don't know, adjustment nut or something, but this has worked totally fine. So maybe 3.0, we'll see something like that.
If you take like a 3/4 inch washer and glue it to the nut and put it in there where the nut will be up against the washer after you pull it.
What are you talking about on the inside?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I have thought about a bicycle washer to add some additional rigidity. Yeah, I've definitely thought that would be a cool idea. Basically, in fact, is even putting it on the inside, maybe. Yeah,
Glue the nut to it and put it.
right. Glue the nut to the washer and pour it all in there. That way, your washer is actually inside of it. Yeah, I think that's originally that was one of my intentions because I was concerned about the spur on this guy mashing into the wood. But
Even just about things to glue.
very true. But with seeing how firm this is and whatnot, it doesn't. That's not a concern. Though what I have thought is just making it a little bit thicker. This was supposed to be, honestly, this was supposed to be something that was rather thick on the edges. Did not turn out that way. But I can just go back and recut the profile. Now I can't, do anything with this, but it's pretty cheap stuff to just sit there and play with.
What'd you make that out of? Like a little late this morning.
This is silicon rubber. This is what I found. And the biggest thing is just to find something with the viscosity or the hardness that you want.
Oh, that's from Let's Rip.
Would it bind to this? Don't know. I doubt it would. I have not tried it. Sir,
It's silicon, or the one where the bolt is.
hold on. Got two folks.
You could use like silicon, hold it in place, because you're gonna be under pressure. It's not gonna move once you have it under pressure.
Unless you're trying, well, yeah, I mean, I have seen where if you tighten it too much, that it starts to pull that nut out. So just don't over tighten it. Because, you've got the spur sitting in there pushing on the inside, pulling the nut. So you don't want to, as long as you don't over tighten it, the pressure from this, it should be totally fine. But I say, I prefer to have a little bit of material on the other side of the nut. Just helps it retain. Yes, sir?
Yeah, so the one where the nut popped out, you just use super glue and put it in and.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you can pop the nut out of these. You just, literally sit there and, it's nothing to it.
You live it?
Yes, sir.
What live center do you have right
So-
there with the threads?
Mine's the Laguna, but the Laguna is identical to the one-way. So it's got a 3/4 by 10 screw adapter in it. So
Yeah, you know, slide. You call it.
Is it-
Three-quarter.
It's 3/4 by 10.
Got something in there, it doesn't matter if that nut.
As long as you don't over tighten it.
Well, then once you put something in there, it's gonna hold it all together because
You see how it's see it pulled out on me, because what happened is this part right here was deeper than the nut. So it started pushing. Thank you, sir. Just need a little bit more depth to it. If I'd like I say, this first time with this version. As you see, the nut itself has got a good, what is that, about a 1/4 inch maybe or so clearance. So just make sure washer behind it, or the bolt itself, when you put the nut on it to pour it, just make sure you give it that 1/4 of an inch. And pour it like that. Although if I did that in this current form, it wouldn't have enough clearance. So I just need to make this a little bit deeper.
What's that one for?
This is the lid that holds that on. It's just a lidded bowl is all it is. So you pour the liquid in there.
Oh, gotcha. That's your form.
Yeah, that's the form.
Yeah.
And then this just holds all you gotta do is suspend the nut above and in the liquid.
In the pour.
And then when it cures, you get
Most people, when I come late, they start over and.
oh, I'm sorry. Well, this is basically it did. I only got one piece of wood though, so.
Well, that's not bad. $30.
What?
Oh, for a live center with
Well, with the thread.
with the thread.
Yeah,
I've never, listen, the one-way live center is like $100 or so. It's not cheap, but most people, what's that?
They have pricing.
Oh, no.
Well, I
Oh,
just
well.
looked at one
Go.
He just looked up one that just had
Robot
yeah,
for
robot
$30.
for $30.
Yeah,
Now, it doesn't have the cone, it's just got the threaded,
yeah, it's just
but I mean,
well, I don't know.
phew. Yeah, you can make a cone. Anyway,
Oh, okay. It goes from 29 to $194, depending on what you get.
You know what you get.
you know.
Yeah.
99 is getting to look good.
Yeah.
That's probably a replacement. No, so. Yeah, that's the concept.
All right, anybody else?
Good job.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Did okay. Nobody got hit with anything.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, you kept it on the leg.
Yeah, that's unlike the last one.
All right, folks, we'll get going here quickly. We got, Give me 1 second. Okay. And now, yeah, you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. That's good. Joey, you gonna be my cameraman? All right. Making space, making space. All right, while Tommy's hooking that one up, we'll do the eternal challenge. You have to be a member, and how many do we have?
38.
38. I wasn't here. Who turned the last?
I did.
You did. Okay, you did that one. Great. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah.
It's time to get me to update my doggone thing. Stupid thing. Okay. Here we go. 38.
38.
Everybody signed.
Okay, is everybody signed in? Okay, who's number 27?
Jimmy McNulty.
Jimmy McNulty. Do you take the challenge? Where is Jimmy? Jimmy's outside hiding, huh? Hey, Jimmy, we just said yes for you. A demo. The challenge piece. Do you take the challenge? We'll take the challenge. Okay. We got that one. All right.
At least it wasn't me this time.
Turns out. We'll try to move through show and tell as quickly as we can. Start with your.
Yeah. I don't know, I saw, Alex sent out this thing about making eggs, Easter eggs, so I made some Easter eggs, just, you know, Peter and. I think that's, Terry. Fine, right here, Terry. That I put it in. Nothing spectacular, just. Nothing to do.
Who did the ice cream zone? Come tell us about it.
Well, that started out as a little joke. We had a high school social at church, and I'm always trying to get somebody. So I did that as a prank, and it turned out to be a fun little project. Yeah. I laughed at it. That is black walnut, so that's chocolate ice cream. I suppose.
And walnut, two different pieces or?
No, it's one
piece of walnut.
What the base is different. That's an easy little project.
But, question, where's the little curly Q on the top?
Pardon?
Where's the curly Q on the top?
Actually, I had it on there. Yeah, actually, it's on.
And that's cute though, y'all look at the ice cream on, that's pretty good. Okay, who didn't pay for that right?
This is just a simple turning whenever I have cookouts, so we would all the paper towels all over the, look like a tail on a kite. So I just came up with it and put it in there, the weight of it, I hook it down, and it roll around. So you can easily get a towel and take it, I had a rubber band on it before, I was doing their show.
Oh, yeah.
Just the weight of that, I
That's
took it
just way of that.
down, that long way.
Tom. Bing. Oh, here he comes.
This is just a walnut bowl that I turned out and I used the bowl.
There's about 7 coats.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that, or the tongue wall, or the tongue wall, on there.
Probably not for your buttons.
Just to fit.
Oh, yeah, it's tunnel finish, what he has on that.
Oh, I wonder about that, yours.
Oh.
Well, where are you?
Basically, that Minwax tongue oil finish is Danish oil finish with instead of linseed oil and tongue oil.
Right. And that's a piece of walnut. Same finish. So, I sanded between coats about 1,000 grits. And then I buffed it. Yeah.
Butter with a bill system.
Yeah. And this is Arch from North Carolina.
What is it?
Arch. Yes. And me and the wife went down to Woodcraft 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she went to a scrap box and got some zebra wood. That's all I've got.
Hey, Jack just pulled out the front of you,
A little box. I took a course from Hans and Jakob's baseball, that's at school. Jakob designed this. It turned sphere box, then put legs on it. It's Osage orange and maple.
Your leg, you turn the cylinder,
Turn a cylinder, cut it off, and then you fan float in the right place, glue it together, cut a little groove inside of it to glue on. That's what the eternal challenge was too.
Yeah. Okay, we've got, who did the rabbits?
Rabbit did, go on rabbit. Go on rabbit.
I'm not hopping.
Yes.
I've been a fan of Snoopy for years, ever since I worked for NASA. And, I decided last year I wanted to make an ornament of Snoopy. So when I got started, I decided I didn't want anything on top of his head. So I thought, well, I'll just look me up a pattern. They don't exist. I found a picture on Etsy. And I took that picture and I blew it up and produced it. Kept doing that till I got one where I could take a measurement of the size I wanted, 2, 3 inches. So that's, I did that. Statement, I never did tell you, this came off of your foot, you said, wow, you get it years ago for firewood.
How many pieces in that?
Oh, there's 18 parts to it. 16 of them are turned on the lathe. And the little ears are done with probe saw. So it's not a 1 hour, 2 hour project. The little feet. Little store behind that. Feet in the picture are turned around like that. That would be pointed backwards. But when you set him up, the way I made it, he was nose hit, he'd fall over, so I turned this. Whoa. That's all right. I just turned his feet around and then he'll stand up. Well, his shoes are on backwards. And I knew that was gonna happen because that's only what, 1/8 of an inch.
That's or less.
So you don't have much to glue in. And I've decided that white Thick and quick. That quick set. Yeah, thick and quick. Crap. So I'm going back that one three.
I'm joining you on that one.
Well, I tell you.
Like it either.
Well, it wouldn't have popped off.
No.
It broke his neck.
Yeah, it would have broken in half. Came off. They had 2 or 3 on it.
And these little rabbits, bunnies, excuse me. My wife's niece sent me a picture of one out of Hobby Lobby. And said, can you make one of these? I said, well, no, I wouldn't make one of those. It didn't even look like a bunny. So it gave me an idea, so since Gary had the egg thing today. I just took 2 eggs and stacked them. Made a little bunny,
What's the eyes, Bob?
bunny eyes. I don't know what they are, there's some kind of plastic, I ordered them.
Oh,
It's a little assortment.
I thought might have been Ebony that you did.
No,
Birds on it.
I thought about Ebony, but then I saw these,
Cheaper.
yeah,
Lot easier. Lots easier.
actually they stairs. Gary, you didn't get all of it. Where's yours? I found another piece.
You didn't burn it, did you?
No, I made,
You made a bunny rabbit out of it.
not biased.
Hey, Gary, there's a demo every month for the next year. Make one of those.
Take a month, do that one now, please.
There,
No,
here's take care.
And we made 1 rabbit and he ended up with 3.
Here's Gary and Michael
No,
for the demo.
I'm gonna show it.
You
But the little ears, you make both of them at the same time, you put a piece of paper between them, turn them, and then split them all. That's the way I do it.
Be neat to see the technique, a demo with the technique
Yeah.
next month.
And this is another way to use small pieces.
And turning an egg is a good little practice.
It is.
item.
Mine don't turn out the same, none of them.
No, not
Don't matter to me.
Hey, I got chickens, none of theirs turn out the same.
Well, if you stop to think about it, if you take a guinea egg, it's right. You get an owl egg, it could be anything, snake egg.
Bob, did you turn those ears and split them or did you?
Yeah. And that's another thing, when you do that, you have to watch it. Because I've got a dowel in them. You see there. 16th inch hole. So you got to leave enough material to leave it ready. And I've got a little vise I put on my drill press. Grip one of them. And I tried to do it by hand, drill come out this side. But
Yeah.
same way with the eyes. First tried to just put them on there and hold them till they set. Next thing I knew, the eye was down here. But they're forming a bit, same diameter of the eye, recessed to about 30 seconds.
And then glue, yeah.
So the eyes are
Glue
not
them
round,
cute.
they're not round,
No,
they're flat.
flat.
Now, on the ears, did you take 2 pieces of glue with paper each one?
I did.
Turn it, it's,
And you get rid of a lot of scrap that way.
yeah,
I mean, little bitty pieces.
right.
Of course, that don't take much to do that. But they're fun. And I went along with Gary's
Thank you.
thing.
Howard, we saved the.
Worst one. This wood is, sassafras. And if you're gonna do any piercing, it's probably one of the worst woods you wanna pick out to pierce, but anyway, I pierced this with a NSK dental drill thing.
it'll do like 300,000 RPM, something like that. But you gotta have a real thin piece to work with. And this came out of this piece. This, and so this is the mother to this. And so, pierced it pretty much the same way with the NSK dental, piercing outfit. And these little round things here, that's a cut burr that will fit on a Dremel. And you get different sizes that you make little round spherical details to it. And the color is India ink. And that works pretty good. And the finish is just kind of a spray on acrylic. But you gotta do it real light or the ink will spread on you. And this came out of this piece. Like that. So this was all one piece of sassafras.
That's a good size tank.
And, so I use that cut burr on all these. So these little round things here are the cut burrs that you use on Dremel. And I pierce this with a Dremel tool.
So Howard, how much time do you have to just pierce it? How much, just
A couple of weeks.
Howard wise?
So you draw a pattern for that, Howard?
Yeah, I draw a pattern, try to get these patterns to fit right. Like this is 6. And you can use the index on your blade to index it. And we'll lay these out. So there's 6 of these, so that's 12 lines. I
The
put
pattern
in.
of the piercing is something you just put on there and then just work that pattern.
Yeah, well, I cut out a pattern on the poster board. Keep working with it till I find one that I like, that fits on here pretty good. And
You must cinematic history or something.
but anyway, there was a nest of bowls that I.
Gorgeous stuff. All right, one more time. First one up. Yeah, we got 'em.
What do I do?
Go pick out what you want on the table.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do them pretty quick, cause there's a lot over there. Ricky Nichols.
Just want to let everybody know that's it for the day. We will see y'all